Good morning, good morning. Welcome to 4x8 Paper Stuff. This is Beth. Welcome to my time to journal. An untrained person playing with lots of art supplies and having fun. Join me. Good morning, good morning. I'm just going to do a final flip through of my junk journal July. This was a junk journal that I made probably 2 years ago because this little guy was still around. Or that's an older picture, but he was still around. And I put him on the cover. That's our old dog, the one that behaved. And it had a lot of stuff in it, just a junk journal. And I picked it up at the beginning of junk journal July. Well, no, I picked it up like the 7th or 8th of July to do something in it. It wasn't unlike this. This is another junk journal that I just make with spare paper. This has magazine papers that I've painted, some scratch paper that I painted, junk mail, old binder paper that I painted. So sometimes I just sit here and put these kind of things together. Book pages, and there's the cover is an Allie Edwards envelope delivery thing. So that's ready to go for some other project. I don't know when, but that's what this was. And it had a lot of stuff in it. Some of it I chose not to cover up because it had special meaning. But I started this when I was having trouble executing a great idea that I was going to try to gather together so that I could be ready for Halloween, because that's my favorite journal. Well, yes, Halloween is my favorite journal. December Daily is my second favorite. And I'm a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and I could not execute this poetry book journal that I wanted to do. I had the idea of combining Poe and trees and make a poetry book journal. I couldn't get it together. I tried and tried and tried. Well, at the same time, forest fires were breaking, and I've told this already, but in case you're new here, I have forest fires were breaking out in Yosemite, and that is my growing up national park. I grew up in California, and many moons ago, but still has a special place in my heart, and always will, and Yosemite, of course, does. And having fires in there, endangering those giant redwoods, just crushed me. So it morphed into a tree book, and most of it has to do with, almost every spread has somehow a way to do with trees. This is Van Gogh trees with Van Gogh washi tape and Van Gogh colors. And what would Van Gogh have done if he had seen Yosemite? Which might lead to another journal. But that's just how that works. This is Yosemite paper. I painted lots of Ys and added different things and put it on both sides. A map of Yosemite, and then a leaf out of my yard that I traced onto a child's activity book and painted, and told about the different oak trees in Yosemite. This was one that I did on Procreate and cut apart. Now, it's problematic here on this fold. I could put tape over that, I guess. But I put a little, I drew mountains and things on Procreate and trees and cut them out and put them on here. A little Yosemite National Park sign. The stats of the fire as of July 15th, which it's not out. And there's another one, not in the park, but on the edge of the park. Oh, I just found a blank page. Oh my. Okay, we'll have to fix that. And then this one is sending healing thoughts. And I just did all these beautiful watercolor circles on Tomoa River paper of greens, tree greens, and added them. This page was already in here, and I couldn't cover it up. It's our granddaughter with Tinkerbell. And this is something I painted probably years ago, and I just put that over some of it. And I just added these hearts, these circles, and this heart was in the same piece of paper. These were already here, so I just added that blue heart with that. That's just how it goes sometimes. Here's some more. A tribute to the firemen and paper that I made on Procreate. Here's poetry where it started. Here is a raven and a beautiful oak tree from the south with all the moss. And this piece of paper is from a Rolling Stone magazine. This was already here. Walking London Traveler's Notebook was already here. On the back of this piece of paper in Rolling Stone magazine was an article about Tupac Shakur. Is that how you say his name? I'm not sure. And Andy Warhol. So I thought it would be great to know that Tupac and Andy Warhol were here with Edgar Allan Poe. And that was when I realized I could not make any decisions. I wanted everything to go together. So I just went with trees. And the fire was happening, and I just went with trees. Here is a forest fairy. She gives protection to all the trees, old and new, ancient and ancient. She and her team are on site in Yosemite. So that was good to know. This is James Burke washi tape that I turned into a forest fairy. These were just circles that I drew and put suffocation, protection, and communication. That's what the forest fairies specialize in. Here was another piece of watercolor paper that I had scribbled on with paint and drew some words on here, the meaning of sequoia and like tree rings theory, and some more stuff about sequoias here. This is washi tape that I had. That was the Golden Gate Bridge, so I put that there because it's close to Yosemite. Another piece of a tree that I painted with watercolor and put that on here. This was another piece of paper that I experimented. Oh, this is at Glacier National Park, my husband, and some horses from a magazine, I'm sure. But this was paper that I made, and there's F's in here for fire. And I did this on Procreate. And then blue is the water. Red is the fire. There's tiny little pencil marks in here of trees. And I think the gray is, or this might be green, trees. There's two different colors of blue in here. This was all done on Procreate, which I really liked doing that every once in a while. This is a gigantic mistake, or one that I didn't like at all. I tried to do something here with the fires, then started breaking out in Europe because of the heat. And I started to do something here. I didn't like the way it turned out. Fires stronger than ever and bigger than ever. Stressful times make bad art. And I felt kind of overwhelmed by all of it. And I think that's my excuse for making bad art. And then I tried to draw a very abstract picture of Europe, or paint it, and save the globe from fire. I didn't like how that turned out. That was England, Spain, France, Italy, where all the fires were happening all at the same time. So I just covered it up with this piece of paper, and it says, the link between forest and fire is us, and left it at that. And I'm not going to ever get rid of it. It was part of it, but I can cover it up if I want to. This was already in here, and I really liked it, so I just kept it there. This is a quote from Henry David Thoreau. I took a walk in the woods and came out taller than the trees, which I just thought that was appropriate. This color was already here. I added some more of those colors, and I just love this. Love that. This was already here, and for some reason I can't get rid of it, but the red is kind of like indicative of fire and hot flames. More trees cut, branches cut in tiny circles, and pine boughs. And I said I was going to paint with pine boughs, and I haven't done it yet. This I did on Procreate just as a space filler the other day. Oh gosh. We have a crepe myrtle tree in our driveway, at the edge of our driveway, and it's shedding like crazy right now. And I took these blossoms, and painted with them on this piece of paper, and got this gorgeous, gorgeous thing, and then put a piece of a tree on here that I had already painted. And here are my paintbrushes. This is me being a tree hugger. I think it is spelled right. I thought I spelled it wrong, but I think it is right. Not crazy about this one, but it still is effective in trees. And I couldn't cover this up because I do like trees, and it's one of my favorite washi tapes ever. Hearts. And This was the new fire as of, oh, I didn't put the date on here. Probably like the 22nd or 23rd, somewhere around in there of July. CAL FIRE is a huge website, obviously in California, because they need it. But at this time, this was the first fire. The Washburn Fire was at the southern tip of Yosemite, and this one is right next to Yosemite. And at that time, it was 17,000 acres. It's much bigger now. At that time, there were 2,400 structures threatened, 55 destroyed, and 2,900 personnel working the fire. And I just put in landmarks of California, and that's where I grew up, right there, just north of San Francisco, across the Golden Gate Bridge. This was another one. This is a fire cell. A lot of the same colors that I used in the other two Procreates, and then I just took them and liquefied them, which is a setting on Procreate, and I love this. This was already here, this frame, in a picture out of Architectural Digest or something, and I just put one of my other little tiny, what do you call this, watercolors, not samples, testing, whatever you call it, swatching, and put that on there because there's just some blue in this picture. And it started with a dog, it's going to end with a dog. That was already here. This was Humphrey Bogart, our old Maltese dog, in 2004. No, 2004 is when we got him. And he died in 2020. Yeah, because he was 16. But, oh, the sweetest dog. And that is my July, Junk Journal July. Had a lot of fun with it. And now we're going to go on to something else. Could be something like this. What if Van Gogh had seen Yosemite? Thanks for watching. See you all tomorrow.